All right, we are live. Yeah, we are live now. We are live. It took like 20 tries, but we are live. All right, we are live. Let's see. We can. Who's just gonna play rapid? Gonna play rapid. All right, rapid game. Something like here. Minus 50, minus 100. Let's do minus 100. Oh wow. Okay. D4. D4. Hopefully everything is okay. Everything is okay. All right. I suppose. So I do play bishop g5 and also bishop f4 and I c4 is coming. We could try this. Knight e4, I mean I could take e3 and some kind of c4. c4. If he takes, we go after this one. Takes here. Knight e2, h4. Usually the knight goes to f4. Castles, h4. The idea it's actually h4, h5. Now in f4 we are attacking here, so he has to be careful. He cannot take, there's a pin. Takes. Here, bishop takes. Takes. Here, bishop up. Bishop here. Interesting. Let's go for it. Let's go for an attack. I don't think it's gonna do this. I don't know why he's considering doing this. This one is met by bishop takes. Queen g6. I don't know if you guys hear me well. I mean, the volume should be good enough here, but wow, he actually did bishop here. Ooh, that's interesting. I think the best move was actually was here. He doesn't have to worry about this one. He's also f5, rook e8. But this one is funny though. This one is funny. I go here, he takes. h5. Tough to say. I mean, I have plenty of pawns. h6 is coming in, so even if you try this, this is actually trouble somehow. Check and then h6. And if he goes here, there's a h6. So I win the bishop. So if he goes here, h6, here, we could take another pawn. I mean, this is tough. It's tough. It is tough, folks. Yeah, suppose here. Yeah, but h7, bishop back. He's still defending. So what if I could do here? All right. After like h6 and knight e4, this is still difficult. Still difficult for black. Queen here, queen g6. And still threatening h6. Along with knight e4. It's good stuff. Good stuff. I don't know if anybody here though. Is the volume is okay? Anybody could confirm. The volume is all over the place every other stream. I have no idea why. It should be like the same volume, but you'll be amazed that the volume change was in once it was in the same stream sometimes. I'm not touching anything, but still, it could be off. It could be off. Yeah, he's doing a little bit of deep think here, and he's actually difficult position to play. Rook for rook. Knight for knight. Two bishops for another rook. But I have plenty of pawns. The king is also exposed. My pawns also could be really passed pawn. As a matter of fact, h5 is already passed pawn. If you ever take on f6, that's going to be complicated. Additional complication. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he resigned, but he's gonna play like a move or two. Maybe he could play this, actually. It makes sense, but he's still gonna get hit by that. 96. I mean, it's possible you have to play things like this. You could give the pawn here, 96. Now, if I play here, I may still be threatening some kind of h6 anyway. Maybe knight b4, but so he plays here and makes sense a certain way. So he's stopping knight e4, but he's not necessarily stopping knight d5. There's also another situation here that knight d5, knight e7 with potential knight g6 along the way. You cannot take this always mate. So this move is actually a big move. Unless if I'm missing here, but this maybe he wants to play queen d7 here. Some kind of forcing a trade, but there's always knight e7 anyway. And there's g8 would be mate. I'm talking about knight d7. I mean knight d5, queen d7. Knight d5, queen d7, knight here. You're really looking at checkmate on g8. And also knight g6 still mating. Assuming that he takes in here. You block, rook takes. So this one does not really save the day for him. You could argue that, well, can he just play queen d7, knight here, knight c6? It's still knight g6, right? Checkmate. With the idea that we take him, just like I explained a minute ago. Now, does he has any defense move here? Maybe it's knight d7, maybe knight d5. I keep saying knight d7, and maybe I'm looking at knight d7 here. But so knight d5, queen g8. It doesn't really work because I could take knight check, and I take on f5. So this feels like knight d5. Let's say he plays random move. I mean, I don't think knight c6 is a random move, but you know, here knight d5, knight c6. You're still looking at the same trouble here. And instead of me going here because the knight is defending e7, you may still consider knight f4, and knight g6 is mating idea. H6 right now. He just plays here. I mean, it still looks good though. Who's gonna play here? I mean, looks like it's almost winning. Should be winning for me though. I'm actually attacking on c7, but I'm not actually looking at it. I'm looking at the mating ideas. This one is much stronger than, you know, taking on c7 and taking on e8 or something like that. You're looking at mating fast. So he does here. I mean, he may be looking at stopping knight knight c7, but knight e7 is still happening. Knight e7, the idea is knight g6, and also knight e7 is attacking f7, f5, excuse me. So it's like here and take is actually the biggest issue, or here and check, and take and mate. This kind of sequence. So even here, if he may just have to lose a piece or something, queen f8, and then maybe this is how he's gonna play. Queen f8 takes, knight takes f5. There's also h6 now. I could still do this, but This may allow bishop f8 and stopping knight e7 because the bishop could take on e7. I could still consider this as well. This one, but the difference between knight f4 and knight e7 is knight e7 is actually attacking the bishop, where knight f4 is not really attacking the bishop. You're still threatening knight g6, right? So if you play knight f4, I mean, I still believe it's lost anyway. I don't think knight f8 would defend. So knight e7 is probably a better move because you're really attacking on f7, f5, and also you're threatening knight g6. So it's like a move that it has multi-purpose. You know, knight f4 is still very good though. It's not like it's not. So that's knight e7. I mean, it wouldn't be. It should be good enough for win. The big move is actually knight g6. I'm not really looking at this, but it's still there, right? So maybe he plays something like bishop h6. But even then, this may still be trouble, like knight g6 anyway. And takes. So he's threatening mate here, or queen h7 mate. So even this move does not really save. I mean, I think it's resignable here, but he could play a couple moves. I'm not sure where the couple moved, though. I mean, this position is very difficult to play on anyway, considering the king, and that my attack is really strong. And this line is really like, if you don't know it, you get punished. And you know, some people doesn't know it because you don't see, like, you know, you play d4, knight f6, bishop g5. You're looking at c4, like c4, knight f6, you know, no, d4, knight f6, c4, right? You could also play c4 and d4, right? You could transpose, but so most people, when you play d4, knight f6, you are not looking at bishop g5. They may predict bishop f4, but not so much bishop g5. It's an entirely different opening. He's taking some time here, but I don't think it really matters. He's also down on time, but it's just simply the big issue is actually knight g6. And if you have a choice, let's say if it's white to move right now, if you have a choice between taking or knight g6, you always have to find knight g6. You cannot really, yeah, he resigned. You cannot really, and he left, yeah. You cannot really, like, my argument here is when you have a mate, you have to find the mate. You know, sometimes when you play chess games, you have to find the best move. You know, when you find the best move, you have to find the best move, right? You cannot really say, well, if you have 2 ways of winning, then it's fine not finding the best move. If you have 3 ways of winning, it's okay. But most of the time, you're gonna get hit by players that seems to be strong. And sometimes you only have one chance, you know, like you have a combination that you have to find, and you have to find the combination. If you don't find it, it may just lead to like draw or losing a game, right? All right. I'm actually on my highest rating, by the way, 2450 in League Chess. So far, we're at the highest rating. So e4. Let's play g6, modern defense. You always have to play d4. I don't think it's not always you have to play, but the only effective way of playing against a modern defense. So bishop g7. I mean, very typical. So I was talking yesterday that d6 is it's basically the main idea, the main move, but c6 is also a sideline. The idea is d5, and then you get the bishop out. It's fast. You're also countering on the center. e5 is probably the most interesting. So takes here, I don't like it though, because this actually feels like it's equal without like any issues for black. I mean, it feels like black doesn't have anything to worry about, pretty much. Doesn't have anything to worry about. I just want to check something about my stream. I'm not seeing something here. I just want to check everything is working as it should. Let me see. Is everything looking good here, though? It should, though. Oh, wow. Okay. We have 12 people in. All right. Looks good. So h3 is pretty obvious. He doesn't want to see bishop g4. I don't blame him. He's right. He's right that stopping this makes sense. Stopping bishop g4. But, you know, black position is okay. Like, it's equal. So, you know, I played a couple moves and I'm equal, right? White does not have an advantage or anything, so it's fairly balanced. Bishop f4 kind of feels like it's kind of some kind of a London. Here and c3, he's fine. And then knight d2. It actually feels like it's a London setup. Like, close to London, but so I've seen this happen. I'm not sure, like, if I should play it. It does weaken up my king, but I mean sometimes I play it in blitz games, in even bullet. But this kind of like weakening up your king, you can still play e6. I'm not sure if I should do this, but it gives you some control over e4. So this kind of move is like giving you some serious control over d4. I mean d5, e4. Excuse me. I mean my notation is all over the place. But anyways, you guys got the ideas here, 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 and e4. More control over e4. But it does weaken up your king, though. Yeah, your king situation. This bishop d7, it's okay. I mean, queen b6, attack a pawn. He displays queen e2. All right, let's do bishop f5. All right, gonna free move it. Oh wow, he didn't take. That's a little bit surprising. I feel like he's gonna take on f5. He's looking at knight h4. It's funny that I could take here, which but he may have the bishop pair, so maybe it's not as attractive. Knight e4, I guess. Like, if I take knight e4, some kind of e6 after that. Let's do it, though. That's fine. I give him the bishop pair, but I don't think it's that big of a deal for him to have. We may eventually trade one of the bishops, maybe, if we can. Knight e4. So we have some control over e4, bishop d3. Yeah, he's actually attacking this twice. Maybe I have to go back here. Actually, queen d2, I feel. Something like here. Also, the knight could go here, which is funny, though. I'm maneuvering my knight. Maybe possibility here. It's still fairly equal, even though he has a two bishop pair, but sometimes people doesn't seem to know that just because you have the bishop pair doesn't always mean like it's an advantage. I mean, you could eventually trade, and then it becomes like normal position, right? Yes, queen d2. He's looking at things like this. As a matter of fact, maybe he wants to play here and trade. This here, I suppose, is queen c1. Knight f5. Maybe g4. That's going to be interesting. All right, let's try this. I mean, if he takes, we just take that way. We also stopping bishop h6. h6, yeah, right. So if he goes here, we just take, right? It's going to be a free piece. If he takes, and he's not taking, which is actually feels like the right choice not to take. There's always knight here, maybe. a6, b5, knight e5, knight c4. Let me give it a try. And I'm not familiar with rook e2 idea. Maybe, I don't know, he wants to double up the rooks. Maybe that's a plan. So maybe he wants to take at certain point, then some kind of... I don't think there's rook e7, though. The knight's still sitting on c6. So he plays e4. He's stopping b5. So if I play here... Is it b3? Maybe that's rook c8, knight e5. So when he plays b3, c3 might be weakness. So maybe start with rook c8. He's pretty committed of playing rook e1. So, all right, knight e5. All right, so knight e5. How about here? Oh, maybe he takes on f5 now. That's I made rook e7 real threat though, but there's not maybe a knight c4, so it's like then my knight gets a better square on c4. So I suppose he's gonna take though. I think that was his plan when he did this. Getting the rook on e1 and rook e2, so he could play here in some kind of rook e7, or you could play g4. I'm not a fan of g4 here. There's two reasons why. I could always go back and he never gonna take on f5. He may have lost his chance to do so. And there's also knight h4. And if he takes, I'm actually attacking this. Maybe it's king g2, bishop g5 for trapping my queen. Maybe that's his idea. If you go for the takes, king g2, you may have to go back to d8. This one makes a lot of sense. So now we could jump on c4. And if he takes, we just take on d6. Maybe it's here in bishop h6. Maybe that's what he's trying to do, but maybe knight c4. Yeah, he's definitely considering this somehow. All right, we doing this. I think it's bishop here. Yeah, bishop here. All right, knight jump. Not sure which knight jump was best. It could have been the other knight. The other knight to c4. Some kind of b5. But b5 is b4. I'm trying to play b4. I could see that the rook is lining up with the queen of c1. If I'm getting b4 in, that's going to be good news because I could if it's black able to play, let's say b4 and take on c3, then the pawn is going to be weakness. So give me some ideas to attack on c3. He's likely to take though. I think we may as well pre-move it. I almost have like 3 minutes now down to. And he's actually playing a little bit fast. He's likely to take. b3 does not achieve the goal. I just go back. Just gonna pre-move it though. Pre-move, bishop takes g7, like king takes g7. King g2. Could he take the pawn though? That's funny though. Could he take the pawn? Is knight e5? That's gonna be interesting. But we still gotta play b4. I don't know about take though. He's likely to take on g7, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's gonna take. I mean, maybe he have to take at some point. Unless he goes for bishop g5. But that wouldn't make sense, right? So he's going for an attack, but I'm not sure if this attack exists here. h5, take on g6. We're going to take on c3, though. You always want to make sure you don't take here because this allows a quick attack. Like my king is going to be under attack here. If you take here, maybe some weird knight g5 ideas, maybe h5, h4, h5. So you don't want to give him the attack that he's looking for. We just play here. So that's weakness. Could we attack it though? Like some kind of 94 or queen c7. Still gonna pre-move this. Yeah, he's still in the attack mode here. He's gonna take. He wants to play rook h1. Gonna take on rook h1. Rook h1. Or actually take. I don't know if take on g6 is a good idea because I could take h takes and meet rook h1 with rook h8. And then his attack may be stopped. So he wants to keep the tension here. And by the way, h6 is this feels like a little bit off because I could just simply play here. He doesn't have queen f4. Can I just stick? All right, so we play here. I'm a little bit confused about his moves. So we took a pawn and we just claiming that we are okay. So all black has to do is defend. I win a pawn now. If you take this way, he gets back the pawn, so I have to take that way. h6 here. He doesn't have queen. Oh, he has queen f6? That can be true. Oh, wow. He may have queen f6. Takes, takes, and takes. That's actually kind of nasty. This means I have to take with a knight. Because h6 here, the queen is covering on f6. Ooh. h6 here, bishop takes here, rook takes here, and queen f6. That's gonna hurt. I actually missed it myself. I played it so fast and I didn't pay attention. Oh, maybe I have to take the with a pawn and not so much with a knight. So when I take here is h6 here, queen f6, I'm meeting him on 98. So 98 defends on g7. So I have to take this with the pawn. Knight rook actually knight takes it's a mistake because of here, here, and h6. Queen f6. It is made on g7. You gotta take with the pawn. So if he takes here, we take here. So I mean, there's no mate though, but he might be back. So I think this will check if he takes on d6. I was about to say I get mated that fast. Not so fast. You can still try h6, I suppose. Because you have to play precisely though. If you go here, you get mated. Queen f6. King g8, queen g7. So you have to h6, you have to land over here, g8. You always have to look at the possibilities. What kind of attack you're dealing with, the move order, which king move makes a lot of sense. You may give it a try then here. Queen check is f6. Yeah, so we have to go here. If he plays here, 98, defending g7. Actually, queen here does check first at 98. Biggest difference is actually the pawn could take with check. So I take this back. You can still play 98, but you take here first with check. So you win a piece and you go here, and this should be winning. So he plays knight g5, which makes a lot of sense to me, though. Because now he's still lining up for queen f6. And he's also surrendering here. So I may have to play queen d8. Queen d8 is actually stopping queen f6. And then we still have here though. F6 takes. Running out of time, of course. Takes. I'll pretty much draw, but he's not gonna take it. He should probably play on. I don't think he's gonna take on e4. It wouldn't make sense because I have queen c6, perhaps. Here, rook takes. It's here. I'm trying to draw, of course. He's gonna take the, and I think it could be draw though. Could be. Takes is actually king takes. I think he has to. Maybe he could play king here. I cannot play like checkmate. There's a pin on g8. May as well pre-move this. Okay, he took. Rook d4. Still a draw, I think. If he takes here, I don't know if I like rook e5 though. I think that's not the best move. If I take on d4, it has to be draw actually. If he plays here, it's king here. I mean, it feels like a little bit off. Okay, so here. Yes, that's fine. We go here. Attacking here. I mean, I have to watch out that h7 is actually a big issue for me. Belly here, after here. Trying to draw this one. Okay, what is this? Gladly he doesn't have earrings. Check. He doesn't want to take draws. I'm actually shocked by this. He might. I don't see that he's a bullet player by any means, but we'll see. He could take on g5. Okay. Rook e5. Oh, well. Here. Still draws, I think. Oh, I missed. Oh, we missed rook g8. Rook g8. Funny though. I mean, offer him a draw. What else to do? I mean, it's a draw because of the, taking consideration over the time. I mean, I think it's a draw though. If I give it to the computer, I think it's a draw, to be fair. The rook ending. Pretty sure it's a draw, I think. Yeah, this is winning. Before we get to that position, I'll talk about the beginning of. Oh, it's still winning? Like, I think I'm going all the way back. Oh, this is winning, okay. Yeah, so this may be a mistake, rook e5. Okay, and here's a draw. Rook b8. Oh, it's rook b8. Rook b8 is a draw. And I suppose is king f3. You're looking at some kind of rook b1. He's up a pawn. Like, I have a double pawns, but this still feels like it's a draw to me. You cannot play things like this. I could always go behind the passed pawn. Up to like here, you could always take on d5. You could take on h7, right? And then there's always, you know, like you could go behind the pawn, or if he goes here, you just play rook d4, f3. I'm just giving some moves out. Also looking at the computer, but you're not gonna win this one. Rook h8, h7, rook d8. It may feel like white is doing a lot, but it's a draw. You know, you're not necessarily able to like promote. Typically, to win a you know, you have you have additional pawn. You probably need the pawn over here, like somewhere on the other side of the board, where you could win, right? But if the pawn is the same, it's the same like 3 versus 3 on the king side or on the queen side, that it becomes really difficult. 2600. It becomes really difficult to win. I mean, it's a matter of fact, being up a pawn may still be a draw. It doesn't matter. We play bishop g5. Let's see what happens here. This is a 2600. I don't normally see 2600s in rapid games. So that's actually kind of new to me to see here. It almost feels like I'm playing a grandmaster, but e6, e4. So the good thing about this opening, it could transpose to like some kind of a French, but I usually take here. You do have to take because if you play here, knight e6, e4. Usually there's a big center kind of stuff here that I try to take control over, like some kind of bishop d3, knight e2, f4, knight e2, f4, even knight g3. Yeah, that's typical. Knight e2. Why knight e2 instead of knight f3? Because sometimes the knight goes to g3. Sometimes in this line, you're also opening up the possibility of f4. And that's the reason why it's knight e2. Because some people could ask, why not? Knight f3 looks good. Why knight e2? The idea is just f4, knight g3 options. As a matter of fact, I'm considering f4 right now. F4, castles, you're getting some center. He's trying to get the center. You know, the reason I took on give him the bishop pair so I could have the central control, right? I mean, he might be looking at e5 next, right? And he has the 2 bishops now, and he's getting the other bishop involved. If f4, I wonder if it's still like he could play this. I could possibly castle. f4, queen h4. Maybe this is actually the trouble. g3, queen h3, and it's. We're just gonna castle though on f4. Maybe I meet e5 with f4. So f4 is actually a key move. And that's basically the reason why you don't need the knight on f3. If you visualize the knight on f3 like this, you could see that, you know, maybe black is better actually. You know, you just simply give up the exchange bishop pair. You give him the bishop pair without any kind of like compensation for you. Have a little bit of control over the center, but not much. Not much. Probably castles. Knight d7 are options here. You're between 2 moves, knight d7, castles, pretty much. I've seen h5, though. Sometimes people play this kind of stuff. But I don't know if it works very well here because f4 is coming in. And you do have to be concerned that f4, f5 is also playable. You may make use of the rook of being on f1, f4, f5. And somehow if he takes here, you could potentially consider knight f4. There are some tricks in this line where you could play like knight f4 even. You sack a pawn so you could get your knight in a better square instead of being on e2. So he plays knight e7, which, you know, it's probably one of the, you know, the good moves here, knight e7 or castle. So f4. So I'm also stopping e5 because I could take with f pawn. And maybe I could even do e5 myself. So it gives me an option to do that. There's also knight d2. The knight usually goes to d2. You know, you could also play knight e3. Sometimes knight e3, knight c4. In some cases, knight b5. queen e7, which is typical. You may have to get, to get out of the way, right? You might get hit by e5 anyway, so why not play queen e7? So I could play here knight e3, knight e3, knight c4. Usually I have to be concerned about c5 in this line, because now c5 is maybe black is saying, well, they have to counter you on the center. You're not controlling it. As a matter of fact, if I play e5, you're looking at c5. This may be the idea for black. The real concern is knight e3, though. Like if I play here c5, knight e3, the knight could get really in a good square as knight c4, knight b5. You always wonder if the knight could go to d6. That's assuming if I get to play like e5, c5. The knight could go jump all the way. It's also knight d2. Choice is not clear yet. And if I played knight e3, maybe he gets to play e5 himself. I wonder if e5 he could take. I suppose I could take. And then he might do c5. We gotta give it a try, though. e5. I've seen d5 here, but I don't know if I like it, d5. I'm not a fan of d5 here. Because this means that white control the center for a long time. But sometimes people, yeah, he played d5, and I'm not sure. He can still play c5, and the argument is maybe like black wants to playing like some kind of a French setup, like the bishop on c8. It's some kind of a French setup, but actually the bishop gets out, like maybe b6, bishop here, and c5. I sometimes play wild stuff in this line. Like I actually have played like g4, f5. G4 right now, maybe it's not the best. Maybe I should play king h1 and rook g4, knight g3, and f5. As a matter of fact, maybe it's king h1. You also want to get out of this diagonal. It's probably wise, but maybe not necessary here, considering the bishop was on g7. You're not getting hit by checkmate, but maybe there are sometimes where you could take on c5, meaning that c5 here you could take in some line in this opening, and if this gives a check, then you kind of lose the tempo, even though you have knight d4. So king h1 is like a waiting move, and also keeping an eye on, like, maybe I could even do g4. You also have to be careful that f5 is a complicated kind of stuff, which, weakening up here I could take, and then it cannot take with the knight because I could take this as a free pawn. So if here f5 takes, queen takes, he moved his queen twice already, and g6 might be a target. But he ended up playing h5. Now, the point of h5 is clear. He doesn't want to see g4. It's not necessarily that h5 is an attacking move. It's not. It's more like a defense. It makes sense, though. Now, f5 is interesting. It's a sack of a pawn. If he takes knight f4, just like I mentioned, that knight f4 could be played in some line, but I don't think it works here. I could, knight f4 and c6. He maybe already defended. I've seen some weird stuff like even e6, so maybe here. I wonder if it's something like here, knight f4. He has to protect the d5, c6. Could I play like... so here, again, f5 takes... f5 takes, knight f4, attack d5, so c6. Could I play e6? The idea of pawn takes is knight takes g6, I win in exchange. Now, is it really possible to get this worked out like that? But he may take with other pawns, so knight f4 is not necessarily attacking d5, because the pawn is sitting on e6. So f5 is like a opportunity if you're given a chance, but not here. And now I have to make a choice where maybe I could take control over g5, because I always tell people you have to be, when you make a pawn push like this, like any pawn push, it could give a weakness. So right now h5 that does give a weakness is g5. So maybe I have a way to go like this, making use of the knight going to, g5. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do this. It's still c5 that I'm looking at. Castle. I don't know if castle is possible here because maybe he might castle long. I mean, he could still castle short, but it might be looking like, you know, I may still attack. I mean, f5 would be really big, right? I mean, if you castle here f5, I don't have to worry about, you know, him taking here because he's gonna be exposed on the king side. So he plays knight b6. I'm not sure about that move, but I mean, if knight f3, knight c4, that's what he's trying to do. I mean, that's... You still have c5 in. And if e4 is e5, I may just have to move a little bit faster though because the time. Knight c4 is not the... It's not a big deal here. Bishop b7. All right, we'll put the knight on g5. So if he plays bishop h6, maybe even h4. He takes. We always take with f pawn, so we could have a dominant control over the f file with the rook. So he's not gonna do this. I mean, he's not gonna allow this. He may play here, but after h4, he doesn't necessarily have to take. And that's actually what I mean by h5. It does allow like a weakness on g5 square. a5. He's attacking both sides. I mean, what is this? a5 is a shocking move to me, though. He's attacking both sides, but there's no attack per se. I mean, I don't know. I could always play a4. a4, c5. a4 anyway. So c5. So here's what I meant by taking on d4. So he could do c5 and take, and then I could take with the knight. So my knight on e2 is not a good square for the knight, but it's a very good square on d4. So, you know, you're basically telling black, oh, do c5, do take, pawn takes d4. He's just helping me putting my knight in a better square. He may just not do knight c4, though. To be fair, that knight c4 may be the idea, but I mean, I could always protect e3. I think the idea is knight c4, knight e3. He would love to see that this knight is being traded. Like something like here, getting his bishop to c6. So the bishop gets active on this diagonal, but I'm just not allowing this. Here you just protect on b2. King d8, what is this? Full moon? That's a funny move though. Do I play b3 stopping here? Maybe just gaining some time. There's also queen here, putting some pressure on f7 in some line. May have to consider where I'm gonna put my knight on e2. He's not gonna do c5. Okay, that's pretty strange stuff that I'm saying here. Pretty strange. h4. He's also locking his rook on e8. So, I mean... Alright, king b8. I mean, I'm seeing some weird chess by him. Some weird chess. Maybe c4. But I have to be careful. c4 does allow... Actually, maybe b4. But b4 is hanging... He wants to play c5? Play c5. c5, c4 maybe. The ultimate goal is maybe here in c4, not so much taking on d4. I wonder if I could take. Because here, if queen takes, his knight takes f7. He's actually preparing it. Here, queen takes, he's defending f7 ahead of time. b4, this is under attack. Okay, rook c1. I could still take a knight d4. So I got my knight in a better square now than on e2. I feel like this is strategically a mistake by him, but we'll see. Because the knight was sitting on e2. I mean, the knight is not doing anything. Now on d4 is more squares that it goes to. As opposed to here. It was just, limited moves. I mean, when the knight was here, this is the only move that I have. It's actually near my pieces, but here it's actually closing into him, right? And I could always go backwards if I have to. So you could see that the knight has more squares. There's also knight b5, knight d6, which may forcing him to takes, and we have a conversation that f7 is still weakness. Very difficult position, but we'll see. I'm still dealing with 2600, but it's a little bit interesting here. But I still play it here. If he takes, we could always take with that pawn. Goes here. He's likely to take them. Should pre-move it. Now, is he gonna take on g5? It should be 8 though. Attacking f7. He's gonna take on g5. He may take on g5 and king e7 and some kind of like attacking my bishop. But I could still go back to b5. So I could still see that. I mean, it looks good for white. The question is, if he has any counterplay, which I don't see right away. There's also time. 26 provisional. 26 bullet player provisional, so you never know how strong he is. I'm already pre-moving pawn takes, f takes g5, should he take the knight. I wonder if this is d4, knight d5. This is the only counterplay that I feel like he may have. Alright, so he's actually sacking f7. I suppose if here's this take, it's not really a sack. Maybe, so going back here. Maybe it's a mistake by me, though. Do I have b4? That's actually the real... May still take... He's stopping b4? And then he wants to take here. How strong this is. Maybe I still do it. Takes, queen takes rook. It's 2 rooks for a queen. And it's not clear how's this playing out. Maybe I have an attack. I suppose he's gonna go for it. Like the here, and simply here, and rook takes king h2. No, he didn't do it. c4. Check. Do I have a6 now? He has b6. That's the crazy stuff, though. B6, I take that now. This is hanging. He slipped, though. He slipped. He was lost, though. He was lost here, I believe. He slipped. He meant to take rook takes. So rook takes, I think I was preparing. Let's see if he's really lost. Oh, he was winning. Wait. Oh, it's a draw here. And it's a mistake here. Where's the win, though? It wants him to play what? King e7? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. King e7 is the best move. So that move is interesting. Because you cannot move the bishop away because I could see rook c1. That's the reason why it's good move by black. So you're taking here by the next move, and you're defending b6. That's great. The defending b6 for the queen doesn't take. But if he's taking rook takes c4, which his original plan, this actually, I felt like I was better, but here rook takes, and I was looking at queen takes b6. I felt like this is good for white. But supposedly the computer finds a way. Rook takes b4 and then queen check. And king e7, and this is actually a draw after rook c1. Rook c1, and he goes for rook c4. That's how he draw this game? That's actually incredible. It's an incredible way to play here. The computer is giving this kind of... yeah, if you go for this, it's actually a draw. Because now he... The reason it's a draw, obviously, after take here, he could just play like... I mean, he may not worry about this pawn much. I actually felt like queen e3 is good enough, but it's not. Maybe I could still win. I felt like queen e3 defend. Like, yeah, this is actually maybe the reason it's a draw. The reason is obviously if I go here, he could maybe take here, and this is always like potential checks. I mean, I cannot get carried away taking f7 because there's always like some kind of like a draw here. So here it's a draw. It's funny that rook c4 has to be the key move. If you play something like this, it's always like, you know, yeah, I still have an attack. Rook c7. Good game though, good game. So more games. Maybe one more game, like one more game. I try to keep it between an hour 20 minutes, something like this, between that. Because rapid games are like, you know, they are pretty long for some people. I mean, it's not like it's, you know, I'm playing bullet chess where I probably played a lot of games in bullet chess. I mean, I may only play a couple rapid games, and it's been already an hour. But it's still competitive, right? Because we explaining the move as I go along. Now I can't find anybody to play. Like I'm marching into 25. Not a fan of having a high rating in rapid because the more you go up, the more you may not see a lot of opponents. I mean, I cannot find a 2300 player to play right now, which is... All right, we are back to this guy. All right, so e4, d4. This is my first opponent that I played, and I played the same opening. I actually was playing white. You know, it's unfair because he should take white pieces, you know. But anyway, this is a guy that I beat on c4. I don't know if you guys in the same stream where I beat him with h4. There was like a knight f4, and I sacked my piece. You probably would remember, right? You assume he will, but knight e2 or h4. He's gonna play h5. I played knight e2. We are actually following the same line. We're following the same exact line. Knight f4, stranding g6. He played the same thing, so I played the same stuff here, and he played here. All right, the last time he played bishop h6, and he was, you know, the reason bishop h6 is not the best move because bishop takes f7. All right. Bishop d3 though. Let's see what happens. He might try f5. This is still fun though, because you can still claim that you have plenty of pawns for the piece. And h4 is considered a pass pawn. Pass pawn. So I'm actually stranding mate, by the way. I mean, it's made on h7, so there's a limited moves here. Rook e8, f5, nothing else. The issue, maybe it was rook e8, maybe... Actually, by the way, he's looking at queen takes d4. He cannot take it because of the rook here. If you check here, check, queen d6. Knight c3, queen takes d4, castles long. I was about to say early, like queen h5, h5, and h6. That's actually what was my the concern, that his bishop is actually almost trappy, but he may have f5. So queen here, here, h5. He may actually do f5 here. So if you do h6, is bishop f6. I have two pawns for the piece. It's hard to say. I mean, there's a line that I'm looking at. Maybe it's bishop check here, queen check, queen d6 takes, and then bishop back. I'll be down a piece playing this position. If you go for knight c3, he may just stick here though. Castle's long, queen e5. I don't like the idea that I see queen e5. Because that feels like he takes a pawn in the process and I'm not getting anything for it. And queen h7 is king f8, h5, just he could still play queen takes. Actually, no, here it's h6. So check here, h5. He has to play f5. So check here does. By the way, the reason it doesn't work, if you take on d4 is h6, then the bishop will be trapped. That's the reason why he needs to play f5. f5. I mean, you could still take bishop takes f5, by the way. It's not doing much for me. It's not doing much for me, though. Alright, let's go for my line. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. He's gonna block. Queen d6. I'm gonna take. You have to get back the bishop back. Yeah, you're actually getting hit by f5. And my bishop might be trapped. He's also looking at bishop d6, d4. So what's the best way to put my bishop? Bishop c2, f5. f5, 100%. Oh, wow. There's knight c6. Not so much 100%. All right, with this castle, I'm not like. I mean, knight takes d4 was actually a threat, though. That was a threat here. And he's up a piece, by the way, so I don't feel like giving him a central pawn like that. I couldn't take back. There's a rook, the rook on the way. So I have to do it. I have to castle, so he doesn't do this. I could take back. If knight b4, it's possibly bishop e4, some kind of e3. This position is really interesting. I mean, you would assume that white is lost, but it's not that easy, actually. You always have to consider other possibilities here. The double pawns are actually a big issue for black in this structure here. And also he's down 2 pawns, and if white gets one tempi, maybe like active play in 1 or 2 moves, maybe white is okay. Yeah, even more than okay. So a6, knight c3. Hey Josh, how's it going? King d2? Yeah, I actually did consider king d2, but you mean king d2 here, right? Yeah. So the reason I did not consider it, because bishop h6, maybe he still have some tricks. I may give him like a free tempi, like knight takes d4, and he may have to defend on d4 anyway. Right? So if he plays bishop h6, knight takes d4 is a big threat. And I'm not sure how to defend against it. I mean, do you get crazy and play king d3? You cannot do this, bishop f5. So bishop h6 was actually kind of a neat way of playing. He plays knight b4, and it's a big move, actually. If I go here, it's bishop f5. I may have to play bishop b1, which is crazy, though. I mean, my bishop might be slightly inactive for one move. If you go here, it's bishop f5. His pieces are getting really active here. So bishop b1. The reason bishop b1 is maybe the only move, so he doesn't get to play here. He may still play bishop e6, but not so much bishop f5. The idea between the two moves, bishop f5, is actually controlling more squares. I'm actually looking forward for e3. Okay, bishop e6, that's fine. e3, knight d5. Of course, knight d5. If I take here, bishop d3. Okay, bishop e4 may be possible. I mean, this ending is a mess, to be honest. I'm not even sure. He could still play c8, bishop e4, and he may claim that he's up a piece, and well, you know, but I don't know. This ending is, having played this opening over and over again, it's not that clear that actually black is winning. I would be concerned about h4. Like, if you trade everything, because h4 could be a really good asset for white. That isn't enough. We'll give this to the computer. Maybe the computer may have a say on this. But obviously the double pawn is a big problem, though, for black. I suppose I have to play this. It wasn't necessary, but it's okay. Yeah, I mean, he's not like playing here. The bishop covers also key square, but there must be bishop c4, though. That seems to be the issue. King e7. Might do bishop e6. And I cannot do this. This actually may be the way to win for him. Maybe I have to go back here. d5. Actually, tough call what to do here. It's actually f5. But f5, maybe I could take d5. How strong is my attack on d5? That seems to be key also. You're putting a pawn that I could attack in some line. So maybe I could blockade the position f5, yes, but maybe I could play like g3. This actually also makes things interesting, because he might be looking at f4 himself. F4 I might just take in a heartbeat, even though I could see some scary stuff happening here. Maybe I could trade rooks at some point. But f4 was actually a big thing for him. He wants to trade. He's gonna trade, though. And we're gonna head to this end of game where I'm not even sure. All right, we're gonna take... So down a piece. This is actually incredible stuff here. Yeah, bishop e5. You know what? Trade the bishops. Go for bishop b5. It's not clear that this is actually winning for him. And I would worry about this. I mean, this seems to be an issue. Probably, maybe it's a draw. Maybe it's a draw. I've seen some weird stuff like in this ending game. I'm just going through my memory. Like I've seen some wacky ending game, like like you could trade everything, and maybe white could even lunch for like even though there's double pawns. I've seen some maybe f3 g4, and it could get really spicy. So yes, you may fix. It may help black undouble the pawns, but it may just feel like yeah, it could be. Who knows? Yeah, it could be. In some cases, white could win. Yeah. It was 1 minute in my clock. I'm not sure, but here. Not sure about this move. Who knows? Maybe not. Maybe not. 1 minute. Actually, I feel like it's a draw though. He doesn't have to trade anything. Maybe he just sit there and not do much. Bishop c6. He may not do much at all here, unless he goes for b5. But I don't think b5 does anything here for him. I also have to be careful where I put my pawns. All my pawns are dark squares, so that's also very interesting. I don't know about this move. All my pawns are dark squares. So I have to be careful that he doesn't come all the way to e1. So if I went for this, that would be huge. I mean, he doesn't have to play e4. I don't know why he did that. Like, he doesn't necessarily allow like the king to get active on b4. Like, he could play any other move, like bishop c6. You don't allow like the king gets active on b4. It wasn't necessary. It could really hurt. Because now this may be a move. You trade then e4 is weak, right? If I play here, he just move the king. Sure though. Okay, now we want a pawn. Yeah, that's gonna be serious now. I mean, that's 3 pawns, right? 3 pawns. I'm not even bishop d7. I could always take now. It's gonna check, I guess. So I could get my king to f3 though. If he plays here, I could. Still not clear though. So I have 3 pawns for the piece. Ooh, okay. Now he's trying to lock it. What? I'm allowing f4. Why I'm doing this? It's okay, maybe. Yeah, now it's a big mistake. Yeah, I'm allowing f4 again. And now I maybe lost. It's just funny though. He just takes on e3. I'm actually lost. One move. Lost in one move. Yeah, just lost here. Yeah, now I should. Yeah, now it should have been like. Yeah, King H. This move, I have no idea why I'm doing this. Like, why King H3 here? It doesn't make sense to me at all. F5 was also a mistake? Wow. My F5. F5 is a mistake. Oh, so it was a draw. Yeah. I'm not winning here. Yeah, the white could only draw this. Wait, 0.4? F4. Yeah, still draws. Still a draw to me then. Oh, so here he had a big move. Oh wow, this is actually a mistake. Why is it a mistake? F4. He takes bishop g4. So if I play here, it's bishop e7. That's actually not easy to see. Not easy to see. Why should I play h5? I suppose maybe. Oh, and then he goes after my pawns. Yeah, I know. F4 is people that doesn't play for win at all. I mean, white F4, yes. Just want to check one thing. So I just want to check if there was a better move. Oh, there was a better move. Yeah, it's g4. G4, G5. There was a better move. G4, yeah, C5, and you're looking at G5. This is actually still very heated competition here. Because simply, well, look at this, B4. That's actually how the computer wants you to play. Yeah, the attack is huge. White attack is going to be huge. Like lost, because obviously rook b1, rook b6, knight e4. That's a fantastic attack coming in. Knight takes and rook g1, I suppose. So I had to play g4, yeah. It didn't cross my mind, but bishop d3, g4, and he has to play c5 and then g5. This is actually really fun. But where's the draw though? It tells me a draw. b4, and he has to play c takes. Wait, c takes where? C takes the b4. Now, this is already good for what? For black. Wow. So bishop d3 is bad, yeah. Then after here, knight c3. I was kind of worried about knight c3. I mean, my move is not good enough. It wants knight c3, and then if you play here, what seems to be the issue? Rook d1, bishop g4. Queen check here, and then h5. So you're looking at h6. Wow. You're actually giving this one out. So you could play h6. The pawn is running so fast. You want to take on g7 with the pawn, not so much with the queen. That's a fun line, though. Very strong. Very strong tactics happening here. So I suppose I could go for tricks after rook d1. He has to play f5, though, which is funny. like here. No, around here, knight c3, he has to play f5. f5, f5. Yeah, f5 is actually interesting here because obviously I remember talking about f5 rarely, like instead of rook e8, but f5 is so different here because obviously you don't have bishop takes f5. You cannot do this. But because now it's black is really good. Queen takes d4. That's you don't have that tag that you're looking for. You're kind of too slow. So f5 here is a trouble move, yeah, and I couldn't allow to see this, and that's the reason why I wanted to play want to take control over check first and try to to go for just 2 pawns versus a basically for actually 2 pawns versus a piece, but it's not enough. Takes, and it feels like it's knight c3 and knight c6. It's still likes blacks, but it's fun to play. It's fun to play anyway. But anyways, we're gonna stop here. It was good games, competitive games. We had some fun. Win or lose is part of the game. I should have drawn that, but I should have lost it because considering that I was still down a piece. So it's kind of fair result here. So I try to stream every single day on chess.com and Lead Chess, and I do mostly rapid. Have a good one. Thank you, man. Come back again. So I do stream in Lead Chess on chess.com, but the rapid portion I do only in YouTube though. On Twitch is gonna be more like Bullet or Blitz. So maybe later today I should be on Twitch. Should be on chess.com playing Blitz games. Sometimes we do bullet games as well, so sometimes I play viewers, so depending on the day. So I should be on later today. That's actually the goal, is to be on later today. I do 2 streams now, 2 streams a day. Sometimes it's 3, depending on the time that I have. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. I mean, I do explain the moves as I go along. It should be educational for most people. Should be fun, educational, learning experience. Hopefully you guys learned something from that. Also, I do post videos, educational videos on YouTube, like not stream per se. I try to divide the content pretty much so it doesn't feel like it's a duplicate. It's going to be different games, more... sometimes I play gambits, for example, and I even win or lose, and I just play gambits. And even I tried in rapid and blitz. Sometimes I put some educational stuff in YouTube, meaning that just like I put my draw against Nakamura, for example, or my game was David Howell, which was competitive enough, and sometimes explain the moves and how grandmasters would play the moves comparing to somebody like me, National Master. So sometimes I put this educational videos on YouTube, mostly on top of the rapid that I'm doing right now. All right, folks, I need to get going. I'll be back later. Should be later. If it's not today, if I didn't make it today, then it's always tomorrow. The idea is to stream every single day, whether it's on YouTube or Twitch, whether in Lead Chess or chess.com, you name it. All right, folks. See you guys later. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be back. Take care.